The house manager ripped the lunch bag from Anna's hands and flung it into the gutter. A bruised banana and a white pill bottle spun into the black runoff. "You're fired," she said. Anna lurched after the bottle. The rain hammered her back. Her fingers slapped the slick stone. The pill clinked once and vanished into the drain. "Please," Anna gasped. "Not tonight." Security lights snapped on. The tall hedges glowed. A door slammed. Daniel Price stepped into the downpour in a t-shirt and bare feet. He took in the scene in one fast sweep, house manager in a raincoat, security a step behind, the maid crouched in the water, rain flattening her hair to her skull. "What's happening?" Daniel asked. Miss Carmichael lifted her chin. Eating on duty, outside, with contraband food, she was warned. Anna's hands shook. She held the empty lunch bag like a flag of surrender. "Miss Carmichael, I'm sorry, it's just the time. I can't miss 8 o'clock. "You can't eat in the grounds. You know the rules," Miss Carmichael said. "Stealing leftovers is a criminal offense." "It's not leftovers," Anna said. "It's mine. It's please the bottle." Daniel stepped into the water and fished out a piece of paper plastered to the drain grate. It came up in 2 pieces, a child's drawing smeared by rain, a stick figure woman, a small boy holding her hand. Bright crayon letters bled into each other. He could barely make them out. "Mommy, please eat at 8, you promised. Don't be late." The line "you promised" repeated 3 times, stars around it. Daniel's eyes moved to the pill bottle disappearing into the grate. "What was that?" "Iron," Anna said, "with food. If I take it on an empty stomach, I throw up and then she claims she has a medical reason to stop working," Miss Carmichael cut in. "It's a pattern." "Please," Anna said, voice low, scared. "Not tonight." Daniel looked at her. She was soaked to the skin, cheekbones sharp under wet skin. Her uniform clung to her arms. She wasn't dramatic. She was empty. "Inside," he said, "all of you." "Sir, policy," Miss Carmichael began. "Inside," Daniel repeated. They moved dripping into the staff entrance. The hallway smelled like lemon cleaner and wet wool. Water pooled on the tiles. Anna stood in the doorway, a step in, a step out, like she didn't belong on either side. "Sit," Daniel said. Anna hovered. "I'll ruin the chair." "Sit," he said, not loud, not soft. She sat. Water rolled off her elbows. Miss Carmichael crossed her arms and huffed at the puddle. The security guard pretended to look at the wall. Daniel set the rain-blurred drawing on the counter. "Who wrote that?" "My son," Anna whispered. "How old?" 8. "Medical issue?" Daniel asked. "The pills, the time." Anna's throat worked. She looked at the door like she wanted to run. "If I miss eating at 8 and 2 and 8, she said. "The clinic said my levels won't stabilize. I have to gain weight or they won't let me donate." "Donate what?" Miss Carmichael scoffed. "To whom more stories?" Anna's jaw tightened. She stared at her lap. "Part of my liver," she said. "To my son." Silence hit the room like a dropped pan. Daniel's face didn't change, but his breath did. He looked at the rain blurring the glass of the back door. He looked at Anna. "Explain," he said. Anna swallowed. "The doctor says he's small but very sick. They can put a piece of a living adult's liver into a child and it grows. I'm the only match so far, but I'm too thin. If I don't get my weight up, they won't approve me. They check again tomorrow morning." She lifted a hand as if to wave away her own words. "I can't miss eating, not the times they gave me. I'm sorry about the rules, I just ate mattered." Miss Carmichael bristled. She could have used the staff kitchen at the scheduled break. She knows that. "The camera in the kitchen takes time stamps," Anna said softly. "If it shows me at the wrong time, you dock my pay. Last week when my bus was late, I lost an hour." Miss Carmichael colored. "We need standards." Daniel stared at the soggy drawing. "Don't be late. Stars around it, 3 times. "Where is the letter?" Daniel asked. "What letter?" Miss Carmichael said. Anna reached into the pocket of her wet apron and pulled out a folded, wrinkled envelope. The ink had bled, but one line was clear: Price Foundation. The signature at the bottom was his, digitally perfect, even under rain. He knew what it said before she unfolded it, but he read it anyway. "We regret to inform you that your assistance request has been denied due to submission after the stipulated deadline. We encourage you to reapply next quarter." His signature at the bottom. Clean. Final. Anna watched his eyes on the page. "It's okay," she said quickly. "I shouldn't have cut it close. The internet at our place. Never mind." "You asked for what?" Daniel's voice was even. "Time off, help with rent for the week of the surgery, bus vouchers." "Just so they'll schedule us," she said, folding the letter back with shaking fingers. "They need proof I can be off work and still pay rent, so my son doesn't, so they don't take him." Miss Carmichael made a small scoffing sound, then stopped. Even she knew that wasn't a sound to make. Daniel stared at his own signature. Something cold moved behind his ribs. He put the letter on the counter next to the drawing. Miss Carmichael, he said without looking up, have you been docking staff pay for eating at unscheduled times? She shifted. Minor deductions for policy violations, yes, it's industry standard. Effective immediately, Daniel said. It's not. Sir, step away, he said, not loud, final. She stepped back, lips pressed tight. Daniel nodded at the security guard. Get the small black case from my study. Now. The guard went. Anna zigzagged, breathing in her chest. Please don't fire me. I'll work overnight. I won't eat. Just today. Daniel cut her off with a hand. Where is your son? St. Luke's, she said. Ward 5C. Here, he asked. Across town, she said. I took the late shift to be closer. The guard came back with the case. Daniel flipped it open, pulled a phone, dialed. Get Dr. Chen on, he said. Now. He waited a beat. Chen, sorry, need you at the house immediately. Bring a portable kit. Check a staff member for severe anemia. And call St. Luke's, Ward 5C. Ask for the transplant coordinator on duty. Tell them Daniel Price is calling. We have a donor candidate who was denied for weight. Ask exactly what numbers she needs by morning. He hung up. He reached for a towel and set it on the counter in front of Anna. Dry off, he said. Then we'll go see your son. Anna shook her head fast. I can't ask you. This isn't a favor, Daniel said. It's basic. Miss Carmichael folded and unfolded her arms. Sir, if she leaves the property before finishing her duties, we set a precedent. You'll be the precedent, Daniel said, eyes on her now. You're done. Pack your things. The words dropped. Miss Carmichael blinked. You can't be serious. He did not blink back. She opened her mouth, closed it. She walked out, heels biting the wet tile. The door clicked. Anna's hands flew to her mouth. No, please, don't fire her because of me, she said. I caused trouble, She caused trouble all by herself, Daniel said. You caused a conversation. That's different. Dr. Chen arrived quick. He always did. He took one look at Anna and grabbed his kit. How long have you been lightheaded? He asked, snapping on a cuff. I'm fine, she said. Answer the question, he said. A week maybe, she whispered. He took her blood pressure. He frowned. He pricked her finger. He frowned again. She's low, he told Daniel. Not life-threatening, but she's skating. Anna flinched when the alcohol swab hit. I have to eat at 8, she said. I missed it. Dr. Chen glanced at the clock. Then I'm ordering food, he said. And I'm writing a note for her file. She eats when she needs to eat, on the clock, paid. That's a medical order. Anna let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. That note won't matter to Miss Carmichael. Miss Carmichael will not be a factor, Daniel said. Dr. Chen's phone buzzed. He checked it. Coordinator on, patching you. He hit speaker. St. Luke's transplant, this is Kendra. This is Daniel Price, Daniel said. I'm with a living donor candidate who was told she's underweight. What exact metrics are you requiring by morning? A pause dragged. We can't discuss a patient without consent, Kendra said carefully. Hippa, Anna surged forward. It's me, Anna Molina. It's for my son, Mateo. You can talk, please. Okay, Kendra said, tone softening. Paper rustled. You're scheduled at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We need your BMI at minimum 18.5. You were 18.3 last week. We need your iron up, your hemoglobin above 10. Last labs you were 9.2. If you hit those, we can present you to the committee and provisionally approve you pending psych and surgical clearance. But we also need financial clearance, proof you can take off work. That's where we're hung up. Anna stared at the folded letter by her elbow. I know. I can provide that proof, Daniel said. Tonight. From who? Kendra asked. From me, he said. Okay, Kendra said slowly. If we have a letter of guaranteed support and if labs look good, we can move. We'll be there in an hour, Daniel said. Have a phlebotomist ready. He hung up. Anna's lips trembled. Why are you doing this? Daniel looked at the soggy cartoon of a boy and a woman holding hands. Because someone wrote stars around a promise, he said. Let's go. They moved fast. Anna changed into a dry sweatshirt from the staff locker, 2 big sleeves over her hands. Daniel walked her past the marble and glass he never noticed and out into the storm again. In the car, she cradled the ruined drawing like a relic. Her hands were clean, but the rain had tattooed ink on her fingers. She held them away from the leather. Do you have anyone with him? Daniel asked as the driver hit the wipers hard. My neighbor sits with him after work, she said. She has 2 small kids, but she helps. I FaceTime at his bedtime. He asks if I ate. Why? So I can tell him I kept the promise, she said. If I lie, he knows. He always knows. The city slid by in wet streaks. The car stopped at a light. Anna checked her phone. A photo of a little boy with large eyes filled the small screen. He grinned through a yellow tinge. A plastic bracelet sat on his wrist. Mateo, Daniel said. Mateo, she repeated. He sent an email from his phone while watching the rain. To CFO. Subject, urgent, Foundation denial case 41872. Text, reverse it tonight. Issue letter, full support for living donor time off, rent, transport, loan grant if necessary. Also, audit all denials flagged late. My signature will not stand on those. Schedule a meeting 8 a.m. Policy overhaul. He hit send. Anna didn't see the email. She was looking at the clock on the dashboard, 7:58. Can we stop? She asked. For what? The driver said over his shoulder. 8, she said. I have to eat. The driver glanced in the mirror. Rain pounded. The curb was a river. Daniel nodded at the driver. Pull over. The car slid to the side. Anna opened the door and the rain slapped her in the face. She stepped out. Umbrella, Daniel said. The driver fumbled one from the door. Anna shook her head. No time. She pulled a small plastic container from her bag. The lid cracked from Miss Carmichael's throw. Inside, a half sandwich. She took a breath, bit, chewed fast. Rain ran down her face like tears she refused to let happen. Cars hissed by. She took another bite and another. Her hands trembled. Daniel stood in the open car doorway with the umbrella out, angled so wind wouldn't catch. He kept it over her head. The rain still got in. It always did. She swallowed. 801. She exhaled like she'd been underwater. She got back in the car with water in her hair, on her wrists. The smell of wet bread filled the car. Thank you, she said, not looking at him. He nodded. He closed the door. The car rolled. At St. Luke's, the nurse at the desk looked up and startled, her eyes catching on Daniel, then taking in Anna's clothes, her wet hair, the desperation in both their faces. She pointed them to 5C. Mateo's room had decals of stars on the wall, stuck slightly crooked, and a knitted blanket in blue draped over the chair. He was small under a big hospital gown. His eyes were huge and too wise. He brightened when he saw her. Mom, he said. His voice tried to be loud and wasn't. It's raining. Did you eat? Anna smiled so fast it cracked something. Yes, she said. At 8, on time. Show me your hands, he said. She lifted them. Ink smudges, wet hair on her wrist. You always look like drawings after it rains, he said, satisfied, then blinked at Daniel with open curiosity. Who's that? A friend, Anna said. She glanced at Daniel like she wasn't sure if that word was allowed. Mateo squinted. I saw him on Tio Marco's phone, he said. The man who helped the school with computers. He's a hero. Anna flinched like someone had squeezed her heart. Over her shoulder, on the chair, the envelope from the foundation sat. She had been reading it to herself like a punishment. The Price Foundation logo gleamed in blue. Daniel's mouth went flat. He picked up the envelope and put it face down. Hey, Mateo, he said. Nice to meet you. Do you like dinosaurs? Mateo asked immediately. I have a complicated relationship with them, Daniel said. Mateo giggled and coughed. The cough was dry and too big for his chest. The transplant coordinator walked in. Miss Molina, she said, we can get you to the lab now. Mr. Price, the financial letter. Daniel handed her his phone. Read it, she read. Her eyebrows ticked up. Okay, she said, we'll print this and put it in the chart. The lab took Anna. Daniel stayed with Mateo. They watched a quiet cartoon. Daniel didn't sit. He stood with arms folded and watched the boy watch the screen. Do you have a dog? Mateo asked. No, Daniel said. I travel too much. You should get a robot dog, Mateo said. Then it won't be sad when you go. Daniel smiled once, small. Maybe I will. Anna came back with a cotton ball taped to her arm and a bandage like a badge. Dr. Chen called. Her hemoglobin is 9.7, he said. Low. Close. What does that mean? Anna asked. You need a little more, Dr. Chen said. We'll do an iron push. Kendra said they can still present you if your BMI hits and your iron can be addressed. It's not perfect, but the committee can consider a plan. Anna closed her eyes for a second. I can do more. You don't have to do it alone, Daniel said. Eat. The nurse brought broth and crackers. Anna ate. Not like someone savoring food, like someone following directions to save a life. At 10:30 p.m., Kendra returned. Preliminary numbers look better, she said. We'll see the final labs at 7, committee at 9. Bring this letter. She handed Daniel a printed copy of his financial guarantee. Also, sorry about before. We get burned by promises people can't keep. We have to be strict. I understand, Daniel said. He didn't look like he understood anything except his own signature on a denial letter and a boy who called him a hero. They left the hospital close to midnight. The rain had softened to a mist. Anna stopped outside and tilted her face to the sky for a second like she was calibrating herself to the weather. Thank you, she said to Daniel. I don't know how to say it. Say it to him, Daniel said, tipping his head at the window where a small face was watching from behind a curtain. Eat when you're supposed to, she nodded. I will. He drove her home. Her building was a narrow stack of brick with a busted buzzer. A teen sat on the steps holding a sleeping toddler. He waved at Anna. He fell asleep, he whispered. I put the soup on low like you said. Anna pressed a $5 bill into his hand and shook her head when he tried to give it back. Take it. He glanced at Daniel's sleek car and swallowed. Okay. She led Daniel up the stairs to a small apartment with neat piles of folded clothes and a single table covered in homework sheets. A calendar on the wall had 3 days circled with red. Tomorrow was one. She grabbed a Tupperware from the stove and ate standing up by the sink, her eyes closed on the second bite. She opened them and swallowed hard and kept going. Good, Daniel said. Again at 2, she nodded. Alarm set. His phone buzzed. CFO reversed. Letter sent. All late files flagged for review. Meeting at 8 set. Also note, Carmichael's sister is a junior reviewer at the foundation. Conflict found. Will handle. He looked at Anna. Sleep if you can. I'll pick you up at 6. You don't have to, she started. I know, he said. 6? She stared at him for a second like she wanted to both say more and hide from it. Okay. He walked out into the night. He didn't feel the mist. He only saw a scribbled star around a promise. At 6 a.m., she was on the curb with her hair in a braid and a cardigan over her sweatshirt. She got in the car and didn't waste time with small talk. She ate a yogurt, then a granola bar, like a soldier following orders. At 8, in the hospital parking garage, she ate a banana. It wasn't raining, but she stood under the concrete and did it with the same intensity as the night before. Inside, the phlebotomist winked at her. You're back, she said. We were rooting for you. Anna smiled with half her mouth. Root louder. At 9, she sat in a small conference room with beige walls and a table too big for the room. Daniel stood against the wall where he could see everyone's faces. A surgeon in scrubs, a hepatologist with kind eyes, a social worker taking notes, a finance officer with a tight mouth, Kendra with her binder. Miss Molina, the surgeon said. You're at BMI 18.6. Hemoglobin 9.9, not ideal, but we can do an iron infusion today, and we believe with diet and monitoring, you'll be at 10.2 by Friday. We're recommending conditional approval pending that. We can tentatively schedule for next week if a bed opens and if your son remains stable. Anna gripped the arms of the chair. Thank you, she said. Her voice sounded dry. Finance, Kendra prompted. The finance officer looked at the letter from Daniel. We have a guaranteed support letter. That satisfies our policy, she said like it hurt. We're clear. Any concerns? The social worker asked. Just one, the finance officer said. She looked at Anna. Our policy requires staff to sign off on work leave. You can't just no-show. Daniel stepped forward. I'm her employer, he said. Sign here, he added, sliding a letter across the table. He had printed it that morning. It was short. It said, Anna Molina has leave with pay indefinite as medically necessary to support her son's transplant. He signed it with a pen, not a digital stamp. The finance officer took the letter like it was radioactive. Okay, she muttered. Then it's official, the surgeon said. We'll move. Miss Molina, I want you in the infusion center today. Eat, no skipping, that's an order. She listens to orders, Daniel said. Anna cut him a look that was half grateful, half wanting him to be quiet. He raised a hand in surrender. They left the room with paperwork in hand and a surgery date penciled in. It was suddenly real in a way that made Anna sway. In the hall, her phone rang. The neighbor. He spiked a fever, she said, voice tight. They're moving him to ICU for observation. Anna's face went white. She took off running. Daniel caught up. They hit the unit doors and were stopped by a nurse. Only one at a time, she said. They're inserting a central line. Anna's hands clawed at the air. He's alone. The nurse's eyes softened. He's not. I'm in there. He's asking if you ate. Anna's breath broke. She slumped against the wall. Daniel stood next to her and didn't touch her because touch would make her break. He stood like a wall she could lean on without admitting she needed furniture. An hour later, they let her in. Mateo lay small, lines taped to his chest, eyes big and bright with fear. He saw her and relaxed like someone had turned down a volume only he could hear. You ate, he asked. Yes, she said. She held up the hospital pudding cup. More later. He nodded. He looked past her at Daniel. Did you get the robot dog? Working on it, Daniel said. Take him for a walk, Mateo whispered. Sleep tugged at him. I will, Daniel said. He didn't leave that day. He made calls from the hallway. He said words like policy and effective immediately and ethics, and I don't care if it's industry standard. He fired people he should have fired a year ago. He rehired a cook he'd let go when he outsourced the kitchen. He wrote a memo titled "Breaks Are Not Theft." He sat with Anna when she dozed, her head tipped to one side in the waiting room chair, her mouth slack for the first time since the rain. He read the pamphlet on living liver donation. He underlined lines with his fingernail. On Friday, her hemoglobin hit 10.3. The surgeon circled the number with a pen on the chart. The word scheduled moved from maybe to yes. On Monday, at 6 a.m., they wheeled them down different halls at different speeds. Mateo reached for his mother's fingers as far as the bed rail would allow. She walked with him until the doors had to be shut because that's the way sterile worlds work. She bent and kissed his forehead. He gripped her hand harder than an 8-year-old should. "Mom," he whispered, "don't be late." She smiled and showed him her wrist where she'd inked a tiny star the night before. "I won't," she said. They took her away. They took him the other way. The doors swung. Daniel sat in a plastic chair under a clock that ticked loud. He answered no calls. He drank bad coffee that kept him anchored to the chair like a rope. Hours stretched. He stood when the surgeon came in with that face all families learn to read in 1 second. "It went well," the surgeon said. "Her segment was healthy, good flow, he's pinking up. It will be days, but today is a good day." Daniel exhaled a breath he didn't know he had in him. He walked to recovery. He didn't go in. He looked at Anna through the glass. Her skin was gray and she was a mess, and she was the most powerful thing he had ever seen. A nurse checked a line. The monitor beeped steady. On the tray table next to her, the soggy drawing had dried in a warped way. The stars were still stars. A week later, the color in Mateo's cheeks made him look like himself instead of his illness. He asked for the robot dog again. Daniel brought a small mechanical thing that wagged its plastic tail. Mateo named it Huso. On the first day Anna could walk with less help, she shuffled slowly to his room and sat in the chair. She ate a hospital cookie like it was a sacrament. Mateo watched her. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. When she came back to work a month later, she walked slower but straighter. The house was different. The staff kitchen had no cameras. The break schedule was posted like gospel, and someone had written at the top, "Eat when you need to." Signed, Dr. Chen. Miss Carmichael's name was gone from the office door. In its place was a woman from housekeeping who had kept everyone's secrets for years and now had an actual title and authority to be kind. Daniel was in the garden, not in a suit, not on a call. He was setting plates on a small table under the pergola. The sun was out, but a sprinkler had left drops like tiny pearls on the leaves. The day smelled like wet grass and clean stone. She hesitated at the threshold. He saw her. He lifted a hand. "Join us," he said. She stepped onto the patio. Her son followed her, walking careful but eager, a thin white line under his shirt where a scar was. He carried the robot dog under his arm like a pet and a trophy. Daniel set bowls in front of them. Soup, fresh bread, fruit, simple things done right. Mateo sat, knees barely clearing the chair. He did not touch the food. He looked at his mother. "It's 8, he announced solemnly. It wasn't. It was 12. He grinned. "Just kidding." Anna laughed, not like she was trying to be brave, but like someone who had made it through something and knew how thin the distance had been. She picked up her spoon. She blew on it. She took a sip. "Good?" Daniel asked. She nodded. She didn't thank him with words. She did it by taking another bite. He looked out at the stone where the drain was. The rain had scrubbed it clean. The grate glinted in the sun. He saw his signature on a denial letter in his head and then saw it dissolving in a puddle, and he decided to keep that mental picture as a warning. "Policies went live this morning," he said. "Paid family leave, no deductions for breaks, foundation changing deadlines. Late isn't the same as unworthy." Anna listened and kept eating. She reached for a slice of bread and tore it with steady hands. She handed half to her son. He took it and fed a corner to the robot dog like magic could make it eat. A cloud drifted across the sun. A few drops of water shook loose from the vine and tapped the table. It felt like a joke. It felt like a test he'd be ready for next time. Mateo looked up. "Is it going to rain?" he asked. "Maybe," Daniel said. "If it does," Mateo said, bouncing the robot's tail so it wagged, "we can eat anyway." Anna met Daniel's eyes. She didn't say sorry. She didn't say thanks. She didn't have to. He dipped his chin. She took another spoonful and another. Her phone buzzed on the table. A text from Kendra, "Lab's good. You're cleared. He's healing. See you next week." Anna put the phone next to the dried drawing. The words were ghosted, but still there if you knew them. "You promised." Stars around it. She ate. He watched. For once, nothing in the house had to be forgiven by necessity. It was right by design. Out by the hedge, a lawn sprinkler clicked and the water arced in neat rainbow stripes and fell back on the grass, predictable, gentle. The boy lifted his face as if to catch it and then ate his bread. The robot dog whirred, tail wagging, knowing nothing and somehow getting everything right.